All right, there we go. So we're back on the stage with an amazing panel to close out our first day of the 2021 Constellations Summit. I am super excited to be introducing our next panelist. This session is going to focus on recruitment and retention with an equity mindset in the CS classroom. Leading the conversation is Ms. Shanti Coaston. She is a teacher at Shaw High School in Cleveland, Ohio. She is also an inaugural CSTA Fellow. Welcome to the stage, Shanti. We also have Ms. Monique Davis. She is backstage and will be joining us momentarily. She is an intervention specialist also at Shaw High School and is an advisor for the CS Honor Society. And a special treat for us this afternoon is we're being joined by two students from Shaw High School. One is Ladorian Flowers. He is in the class of 2023 and he's currently CEO of the Student Advisory Council. You're going to be hearing a lot from him today and what he is doing in computer science. And then we have Maya Tomoto. She's also a student at Shaw High School. She is valedictorian class of 2021. I want to welcome you all to the stage. Thank you so much for presenting. And we're going to be bringing Miss Davis on the stage now. And then you all can start, okay? Thank you all.
One, Coaston, like we heard before, and backstage. Are we live yet?
Yes, we're live. Hi, I'm Monique Davis.
All right. So we're here to talk about retention and recruitment in computer science with equity mindset. And we have some audio to share as well. And so this is the team here, and I saw they're working together officially in last year. I actually co-taught an IT class, and here, computer science teachers, you're intervention specialists, and we've actually won quite a few awards a few years. In our spare time, Miss Davis is a winemaker, and I referee basketball, and we've been doing those for quite a while. And then here are two wonderful students. We have many computer science, but these are two of our students, who's been with me for 3 years, and Ladorian actually started with me in his sophomore year, so he has 1 year. You can see all the accomplishments that these young people have done. And Maya, we just found out she's actually doing a double major, computer science and philosophy, at the University of Akron. And so we are so excited that they're here to speak with us, because I always believe in students. But when we were first asked, I said, who?
We can't see your screen.
You can't see?
No.
Hearing it. Have to add in. It's right there. Can you see it now? Right above. Can you see it, Maya?
No. Unshare and share again.
So I'm doing my best.
That's fine.
Yeah. Can you see it now?
There you go. Okay, go back to the beginning.
Okay. Well, I can't because I only have like 50 minutes on my laptop. Like I was in another session, so okay. So then once we got excited, we said we were ready to present to you all. So Ms. Davis is going to talk about recruitment.
Coaston, we lost it again.
Okay. Can you take over then? Because I have what else to do.
Yeah. Stop sharing. I'll share from my computer. Okay, can you guys see it?
Nothing's up. Okay. Okay, Coaston, you ready? Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Coaston, you ready? Go ahead. Let me.
Is it muted? Miss Coaston, you're muted.
Okay, so like Ms. Coaston was saying, this is us when we were asked to do this. When we talk about recruitment, some things we talk about are word of mouth. How do we get out our message about CS? We do staff, peers, parents, CS carnivals, field trips, in-class observations, advertisement, academic appeal. How do we get the students to sign up for CS? We students talk to each other. We're very loud and active in the hallways. We speak to everyone, school staff, administration, guidance counselors, teachers, and coaches. Mr. Coffey, this is just something he had to say. He's our former football coach. He chose Ms. Coaston and I because we care about the students. He knows that we care about the boys learning not only about computer science, but how it relates to the real world. And he wishes he could have all of his boys in our classes. And this is one of our students, class of 21, who just graduated. Here's one of the quotes he had about Ms. Coaston, that Ms. Coaston can teach a lot of stuff. And he saw that if one of the students, Shayla, was smart in his class, and he realized that a lot of other students were comfortable coming to her, and he knew that he was going to learn. Maya?
So one of the various parts of getting a recruitment out of the district was hosting a CS Carnival, which is just a computer science carnival. So this was for the elementary schools throughout the district. It got canceled halfway through because of the whole pandemic situation, but for the most part, for every class and school that we went to, it was really exhilarating experience. For the majority of the part, it kind of showed a type of connection where CS was more than what meets the eye. It was having young kids play games and then understand the connections between computer science, the connections between technology, exposing it into a different light and then showing what they can do with it. It can be anything that they make of it. A really great part about that was having like young girls come around and then knowing that this was something that they could do, which was really great. It was kind of refreshing in a sense. We would go around, we'd had different activities like labeling, escape rooms, flowcharts, and then we gave them prizes at the end for all the activities that they would complete, so they felt their efforts were rewarded in a classroom setting, which was, in the end, it was a fun experience. So it wasn't kind of like a monotonous classroom. And to give into demonstrations that younger kids would be able to follow and then things that they would also enjoy while also keeping in an academic kind of point of view for this.
Here's an example.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, all right, fine, y'all. I'm gonna give y'all these. We're gonna go in there. Y'all gonna look at that tape right there and take it up. And y'all gonna have to do it for a while. Yeah.
And then this is a field trip.
Field trips were also a really important part about being in the classroom because it was good exposure. It shows the like real world and other people who look like us. It's exposure for this part is all about learning. You can't do something that you don't understand, but that's okay. And it was kind of learning to know that that was okay for you. And then once you figure that out, you can just learn more and more and more. And so you can grow and try again. So going through field trips, like these are examples from the IT Career Fair and Malone University that we took early on in the day. And we took that to find like new paths and interests for each person. And computer science is different in a sense because it has something for everybody and it doesn't discriminate based on anything. You can do whatever you feel is necessary for each person. And then it's always ever changing. So it matches with all of your interests. And having exposure in this kind of environment is important because you get to see people like you to motivate your desire to succeed. And then these two field trips were also important because it was getting us involved with our community as well, so that it could show us that how we feel and then how we fit outside of our own community, because we would go through a lot of district organizations and then events and such, but then going outside into like our own state as well, even if we were just going 1, 2, or 3 hours out, it would make a huge difference, because then we would also see other kids who were just like us gathering around, showing us things that they learned, what they were excited about. And then we would share with them and then realize that we were on the same playing field as well. My favorite part, probably though, about computer science in our school district was in classroom observations. My bad. Much less than an observation, it was a different experience, I would say. For example, it was just my friends would follow me into class willingly because we would curate an environment that they want to be a part of. It was a challenge, supported, accepted, and SMART environment. SMART is a subjective standard, whatever that may be, so it's different from person to person. So having that rigorous caliber in the classroom was something that they always look forward to. It was positive. We had great classroom vibes. We appealed, and it was so much more than what they expected because everyone thought computer science was hard. And there's nothing that's too hard as long as you give your best to learn something new, and then you realize nothing is too hard once you finally get the hang out of it. And then we learned that even if something is hard and we make a mistake or mess up on something, that we can always come back and fix it, which was the best. It was probably the best environment to ever give into a school district because many kids grow up thinking that it's not okay to make mistakes. And this classroom was the perfect example of, if you make a mistake, just fix it. And you're not going to be berated or anything for it. It gives you like the ability to ask for help. And that's what makes you stronger. It also gave you a chance to like love your peers as well, because everybody was so interested in being in the classroom, we kind of developed a sense of family. For example, there was this really great moment a couple years ago, and as previously mentioned, Shayla, we were close friends. We were freshmen, sophomores, sitting in a class of seniors, and they would ask us for help as well. And it was really something different because we were all on this great even playing field that we didn't really expect. But when you can give help and ask for help in an environment like that, you kind of feel as if your mind is appreciated and that you can learn more things and that you're fit to meet the standard of any other task that you have. And then sometimes kids who didn't even have the class would come in there and then answer questions faster than we did. So it kind of just lit a flame in our our competitive, spirit.
Is Coaston with us? I can't see. Okay, so one of the other things we did is we advertised. We sent out mass emails through our system using like Blackboard or our district email. We put things on social media through our Twitter, through our Facebook, and we also would create posters. We have a print department in our district where we create posters, especially during CS Ed Week, and when it was time for in the spring when we were doing schedules and picking elective classes for the following year, and when there was time to do surveys and different things like that, we promote surveys and different things to see who was interested in taking computer science classes for next year, so we could kind of put that out there so we could say to our principals and to our guidance counselors, hey, there's interest in computer science classes, they're interested in more computer science classes, so can we open up some more opportunities for students? And then when we talk about academic appeal, computer science has added academic appeal in that here in Ohio, it can replace science and math credits for advanced classes. And also you can earn a technology seal on your diploma and transcripts, and you can also get industry credentials that are on approved, that there are industry credentials that are on approved list here in the state of Ohio. So students can walk out of high school with some industry credentials that puts them on as a marketable senior at 18 years old. So those are some academic appeals. Here are some of the courses that we offer in 2021, this school year. And then we're looking at adding some coursework, some CTE and other coursework certifications and things for the 2021-2022 year. And we continue looking at how can we improve and how can we add things to our coursework. And we're also looking at who can we add and who can we invite into the computer science family of coursework and teaching. We're really trying to look. This spring I actually taught a workshop at our K2 building, because we're really looking at who can we bring into the fold, who can we invite, and who can we get to start teaching some classes and really developing the computer science mindset so that they can start doing it in their classroom, introducing it at an earlier stage and earlier age, so that we can really start building a foundation early on. So we really want to, when we look at representation, CS representation, we want to disrupt and interrupt the implicit and explicit bias and the mindset that I thought that was Coaston jumping in.
No, I'm here, but go ahead.
Okay, go ahead. This is you.
I apologize, you all. If you see my background, I'm actually at summer camp right now. Wi-Fi issues, but we got it worked out. So talk about CS representation. The biggest thing about computer science is bias. Where we work, we're 99% African American students. So for students to see us in the computer science field, lets our students know that it is possible to have a career in computer science. And, because one thing myself and Ms. Davis always like to do is we always like to disrupt the status quo and let our students know that they are capable of doing things that anyone else can do. I like to show background success stories of people. Ms. Davis and myself do know people in the computer science, the software, the IT industries, and we always, tap their shoulders for come in. Before COVID, we would have job shadowing, but now they can zoom in. They tell us about their jobs and what things that students are doing now in class that apply to their jobs. And the best thing that the kids like to do is actually do the field trips and do the competition. Anything that gets them outside of the classroom. That's the best part of CS, is being out and about and the world that our high school, our students can do CS and can do CS well. You can go to the next slide, Ms. Davis.
Yes.
Basically, retention, we're going to bring it up to LaDorian, because LaDorian is the process of coming back to computer science. So he'll tell you his story and what retention means to him.
Hi all again, my name is LaDorian Flowers. Getting to computer science was a bit of a struggle, especially being online in the beginning of the year. Coming back to school was a bit of an issue. But when I got into computer science, I was able to confine and talk to Ms. Davis and Ms. Coaston about the problems I was having in my personal life. And those problems were affecting the way I was focusing, the way I was prioritizing work, etc. But when I was able to build a relationship with Ms. Coaston and understand that she's not here to just throw work upon me, but to help me further my education and to further my further my intelligence, I was able to kind of rest easy, if that makes sense. My classroom, I had never felt so vulnerable, which is a good thing for me. I had never been able to speak and let everyone know that I was struggling and then after saying that, be able to receive help from my peers if Ms. Coaston was dealing with another student who was stuck on something, or even if she wanted us to struggle on our own until we got it. We, like Maya said before, this program is a family in every way, shape, or form. Here are some pictures here. Okay, from what I know that Coaston and Miss Davis do to build relationships with us and our parents, they virtual meetings, they call, they send out emails, they try their hardest to make sure that their students are, what am I trying to say, that they are okay. Just checking in on them is one of the biggest things that helped me during this time of the pandemic.
That, I was rocking it out and first, and all of a sudden the door just kind of fell off. And I was like, what's going on? So I actually called him, and it wasn't even about work. I just wanted to call to make sure that he was okay. Biggest thing, because you're not work if you're not okay. So the work comes second, because I want you to be okay first. And that's the biggest thing. And when COVID, myself and Ms. Davis would up and we would like do drive-bys, give kids envelopes full of things, we would do weekly check-in surveys, like a quick Google form, even on their phone, just to let them see if they were okay. And then sometimes we would do quirky assignments, like I read Netflix and watch during the pandemic, and students would give me some good suggestions, and I was kind of surprised at what the students picked. Actually, I did watch, and I had something to talk to them about. And the biggest thing about relationships, and I always tell students, is I want to be better than I was that day. Sorry for the birds. And I want them to be better than they were today. You can go to the next slide, Ms. Davis.
Okay, we talk about all inclusive.
Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, you got it. Go ahead, Ms. Davis.
We talk about all-inclusive environment. In our computer science program, we allow our students to come as they are, knowing that they won't stay the way they are. This is a picture of our inaugural computer science inductees for our honor society. And we had students in this class that came from all factions of our high school culture. And they meshed together, and they worked with each other and did different parts. They were in different committees in different parts of our honor society. And side note, for the other picture, one of the other things we expect and what we want, and we have in our inclusive environment, is that we want our students to be comfortable. We want our students to feel like our rooms are their home away from home. And I know you've heard that from our students that are here on the panel. Side note, that we did ask her to sanitize her area after she got finished with her feet up and her shoes off. So Ms. Coaston did, had that request. In an all-inclusive environment, ideally, one of the things I tell people is you should be able to tell who the kids are that need the accommodations, that which kids need the extra time, which kids are the kids in the room with special needs. When the all-inclusive environment really works the way it should, you should know which kid in the room is the kid that is managing, the kid who needed to manage their behaviors and couldn't, be in a regular classroom, that is then the one that is a leader in the room and is the peer tutor and is able to work a student help desk. So one of the things I love about our computer science program in our district is we have students that in a normal setting wouldn't be able to do some of the things that they show up in our computer science program and do all the time. They're rock stars. Coaston?
this young man here actually was a student of mine first, then he ended up getting Miss Davis as a senior. And his background, this is Dangelo, and he communication disorder, where he understands what you're saying and he can process, but he struggles to his thoughts. I knew him as a freshman when I taught. I had him in as for world history, and he wanted to take game design, but it didn't fit in the schedule last year, so he ended up taking AP Computer Science. And the only reason he took the AP Computer Science class is because he knew I was in the class. The cool part of Dangelo was he was actually the only student in the class with an IEP. However, he was helping other students out in the class that he had one. And a kid would say, oh man, I need some extra help. I might need an IEP or something because this stuff is hard. And me and Angela would kind of snicker because I'm like, that actually had one. And because of science, you know, he was in the flourish and taking game design all year, his senior year with Miss Davis, and he just gaming he was doing things me and myself and Miss Davis had no idea what to do, and we just let him have it, let him go. He did it virtually because the school, I think 3 times a week for gaming, but that was it. Student was able to do it virtually, so he was very successful. So that's one of the kids we always talk about because in that class he actually felt, and even his mom to this figure out how he'd be so successful in AP class and a game design class, yet he struggled in his the environment and it's the teachers. Go ahead, Miss Davis.
Oops. Sorry. No.
All right, and
no, wait, no.
Did you see it?
Okay, there you go. That one.
We got that one. Hit the next one.
You didn't talk about him.
Oh, we skipped Nate. Okay, and this is Nate. He is actually a band member, and he actually, I had him last year. They kind of. Actually, no, he actually joined the class because of another band member actually told him he should come to this class. And as you can see here, the biggest thing he likes about the class is the environment and the fact that we just kind of let people be who they are. You just have to respect everybody else. My philosophy is you can do what you want, but as long as it doesn't impede on anybody else's rights, civil liberties. You know, we always respect people's boundaries. So like you saw with the young lady with her feet up, you know, as long as her feet didn't smell, everybody was good. This young man here, he just wanted to come in and do his work, and he just wanted to be great. And it was awesome because he didn't have me, because he's in criminal justice, we kind of added a cybersecurity piece to it. So we were able to combine my cybersecurity students with the criminal justice students, who was able to come back and, you know, even with cybersecurity, he was able to use the skills from the AP course and kind of work through cyber. So that's just another young man. He said he's going to try to figure out a way to in my class or Miss Davis's class next year because he just really enjoys the environment in the class. He said he doesn't really, he just wants to take a computer science class. Go ahead, Miss Davis.
Yeah. Now, the DJ.
This is our love. We call them love muffins. The ones that are challenges. We like to call them love muffins. This is a student that struggles, and we were co-teaching the IT, and myself and Ms. Davis would take turns dealing with, because he was a lot. He was very emotional, and literally got to the point where the first 5 minutes of class, and not just him, some kids would come from other classes with issues. We would spend the first 5-10 minutes doing mindfulness, just DS going on. And, you know, this young man, when he gets frustrated, he struggles, and he will shut down, and he's shut. Like he said, he had to shut down for 2 weeks where he just wouldn't do any work. So, you know, he definitely kept us on our toes and kept us creative. An example of when, you know, he finally realized he can be successful in this class. So this is an example. And he actually is helping another student with an assignment.
Boom. Miss Coaston taught me this. Two that. Hold on, you gotta tell me. Oh, with the settings. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And mind you, this was pre-COVID. So as they graduated, actually, 2019? They graduated in 2019.
2020.
2020.
No,
I'm sorry, they graduated 20.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they graduated in 2020. So this happened like first semester. So before they shut down schools. So that's why there's no mask and we're all bunched up together. But that's definitely an example of a student that, you know, once he realized he can be successful, you know, he was all in. So yeah. Go to the next one.
Oh, wait.
Oh, and this is another celebration. As you can see on the right, you can see my last year, right? And this is Maya and Sarai on the right. They're both NC WIT award winners. And so they're probably like my top 2 rock star young ladies for the class of 2021. And then over here on the left is a video of a young lady who actually recruits for our computer science classes. She's now in cosmetology, so the way that her schedule set up, she can't take any more. She doesn't have room for any other classes, but this is her. She was the only in an AP, and this and she never took AP before, but this was her 3rd course with me. So she knew I was going to let her fail, and this is her finding out her test scores for one of the units, a unit test we just did. So I do, and I get permission for record, but I was actually walking in, that woman with the shoulder, so she knew, and actually sent it to her parents. But the thing is, all the kids celebrate because they know it. Like little things like that, I let them celebrate. I let them, you know, do a TikTok about passing a test. I mean, they ask permission, but like little things like is a big deal because they achieve something that they don't think they can do. And a lot of times we don't celebrate things because, well, you're expected to be successful. Well, that's true, but let's celebrate it anyway. And it took for a student to tell me that I know I can do it, but it's nice to hear congratulations. So that got me to change a mindset when a student told me that. So I make it a point to celebrate. Next slide. Here we have big thing about student voices is competitions, and competing, win or lose, just to get the exposure and just to get a seat at the table so people can get to know who we are and get to know who the students are. And point where we're actually winning those competitions and people are recognizing us. So you can see over here, we had this was our first year we did data science competition. All these kids have actually graduated. But you can see 2018 we didn't place, 2019 we didn't place, 2020 they canceled it. And Maya here was actually on that 2020, recently it was virtual. They actually got 2nd place behind an all-girls private school. So they did very well for, you know, a school that isn't expected to be successful. We also did blockchain when it first came to Cleveland. I had no clue what blockchain was. The kids had no clue what blockchain was, but they managed to learn what blockchain was in a quick hour session, and they were able to you know, compete. I had 22 students. They broke themselves up into teams. And I have a picture of this set of students because they actually got with a young man from another school district that was there by himself. And they said he's by himself and we don't want him to be alone. So that's something science, because that's that global, you know, connection we like to talk about, where you're going to go beyond yourself and include somebody else. So they included somebody, and this team ended up getting second place, which I thought was great. Everybody graduated except for the one young lady in the middle. She will be a senior next year. And last but not least, it was actually our first competition. All of those students are in, actually the last young lady just graduated. Everybody else is in college. You can go to the next one. And then gaming team. We had a gaming team a couple of years ago. Then last year we didn't. And then we started up again. But as you can see here, it's in their gaming in the classroom. And the cool thing is, the students said, we wish we had gaming earlier. We wish we had computer science earlier. And the young man on the right in the middle, well, the one young man, he is actually at Tennessee State. He's political science, but and the other young man, he's actually majoring in game design right now at the local art college down here in Cleveland. So just something as small as having a gaming team and combining that with computer science was a big help, because we also won a social award for, I want to say equity and social connections. I can't remember the exact reward for it, but that's what we won. So that's what we were there for, getting the award for that. Go ahead, Ms. Davis.
Equity.
All right. You want me to take it, Ms. Davis? You got it.
You take it.
All right. So equity. So basically everything we talked about, because in order to include people, you got to have that equity piece. And, you know, the biggest thing is, you know, we're reducing, always learning about students' cultures and building relationships. And trust and believe, myself and Ms. Davis have made plenty of mistakes. And sometimes we don't realize things we say and do, but we do have the good fortune, because of those relationships we build, that our kids will call us on our stuff. And we may not like it, but we own it, we take it, and it makes us better people. And I think that's the greatest part about that relationship. The students are comfortable enough with us that they're able to tell us what's going on. And, you know, we do our best to make activities relevant and culture responsive. And if it's not relevant, we figure out how to make it relevant. Fortunately, we are across the hall from each other, and we strategically made our desks where we can see each other. So, you know, if we're not yelling across the hallway, we're picking up the phone, speaking, you know, trying to figure things out. And we're always reflecting and trying to figure out what we can do to make our kids better. And it is amazing, to the point where the kids are now going between our classrooms. Maybe they just don't want to be bothering me. They go see Ms. Davis, or vice versa, or they just, you know, whatever. Our doors are open, and we always let them come in and out. And one young lady was going back and forth for like 3 hours, and we just let her do her go back. She would sit in my class, then go back to other class, and then come to find out she had a relative passed. And I didn't know that. I just let her do her thing, and I didn't say anything to her. She just kind of was going between our classes. But now it made sense. But for us, it's not a big deal, because she wasn't, you know, impeding progress of anyone else. So that's a big thing too.
And a lot of times I keep snacks in my room, so the kids know they come over to my room, especially if they haven't had breakfast in the morning before they get to school. Sometimes they come over to my room first, and they'll say, okay, let me go get something to eat, because I know Ms. Davis has things over there where I can eat first, and then I'll go to Ms. Coaston's room. So it kind of, they come to us for what they need. They know they can get what they need from either one of us. So we try to be that person for what they need, when they need it. They know where to go.
So if anybody has any questions, let us know.
Can I stop sharing?
Thank you so much for that discussion and that presentation. I did want to ask one question, and this is really more for teachers, but I'd like to start it out with a perspective from a student, from either Maya or Ladorian. you know, a lot of teachers, they're still learning how to teach computer science. Ms. Coaston and Ms. Davis, they also went through a learning process on how to teach computer science. So we want to hear from you too. But there are many teachers who are, you know, they're new to teaching computer science and they're also trying to engage students. If you were to be able to recommend, you know, things to make sure, things to think about as they're learning how to teach computer science, and then also making sure that they're creating an inclusive classroom, what would you say to those teachers? We can start out with the students, and then Ms. Davis and Ms. Coaston, we'd love to hear from you as well too.
Okay, I'll take some. The biggest part probably is just learning to know that it's okay to learn with your students. Everybody grows every day and they learn everything every day. Like, you learn something new. It's probably a fact at this point. So you just have to be comfortable enough to know that it's okay to learn with your students, because you're not going to know everything. And figuring out things with your kids is more engaging and it's more fun, and it makes you, it gives you a different kind of connection with your students, because you just understand them better now at this point, because you know their thought process and they know your thought process. And then when you combine that together, you both end up learning off of each other.
It's wonderful. Thank you.
I totally agree with Maya saying. One thing I had to come to terms with a long time ago is I brought this up in a meeting with my counselor many years ago and my mentor, and they both agreed with me when saying that sometimes you have to teach the teacher. Simple as that. And as you're teaching each other, it helps with the relationship. It helps understand and it allows you all to figure out what's going on quicker than everyone being afraid of saying that I don't know what to do, I'm scared to ask for help, etc. When you guys can learn together and talk and teach one another, it's phenomenal.
And I'll say, one of the things I tell my kids when I first introduce myself, and I tell the kids I'm not perfect and I make mistakes all the time. And I say, if you can point out when I make a mistake, that's some extra credit points, some bonus points for you. So they're always on the lookout for when I make mistakes. And I say, make sure you point them out to me respectfully. Don't you like yell out, you made a mistake. I said, you know, make sure you make it a joke for me, please. Make it funny. Don't just yell it out. Make it a funny joke for me, please. I like humor. That way it's funny for all of us. But I'm still learning computer science myself. So my kids, they see when I make mistakes all the time. So I'm completely okay with making mistakes. And the kids learn that very quickly about me. They see me make mistakes. And I have a little post-it note at the bottom of my monitor that says all the time, mistakes are to be inspected, respected, and corrected. So and I have a poster that I made for all of my kids that they slip into their binder that says the same thing. And I tell kids all the time that in computer science, you're going to make mistakes. I tell them that in math, you're going to make mistakes and it's okay. I tell them, you know, you come to school to make mistakes. So I said, you know, if you didn't make mistakes, why are you here? But that's a comfort level. I mean, they don't believe me at first when they get into my class. And then as we start to make the mistake, they're like, oh, okay. It's okay for us to make mistakes. Yeah. So, I mean, I think that's a comfort level. And I think once they start to see me really make mistakes and be okay with making my own mistakes. And when they see me say, why didn't y'all tell me I made a mistake? You know, and they say, oh, we can really tell her she made a mistake. So, you know, then they start saying, David, she made a mistake, fix that. Then once they see kids tell me that I made a mistake and I don't yell at them or go off or go crazy, they're like, oh, this teacher really means tell her when she made a mistake. So she really is okay with that. You know, then we have a good time. So yeah, I think because they're not used to a teacher really meaning, tell me I made a mistake so we can fix it, because we need that in computer science. But yeah, I think if more teachers were okay with kids telling them, hey, did you realize you put a negative there and that's supposed to be a positive number? Yeah. But I'm still learning computer science. I'm still a newbie in a lot of ways with certain things. So I'm completely okay with kids telling me when I mess up. And I have a couple of kids, hey, you really mean to leave that there like that? You're going to leave that open parenthesis? So, you know, I've got kids that are very humorous about it now. So.
And I think just to add to that, Maya was in that first class of AP students. So we, every day I would teach something, then I'd realize I messed up, come back. Okay, everything you learned the day before was wrong. So we're going to start over. And they were like, what? So Maya was in that group. And then the next year I finally figured it out. And Maya was like, oh, you guys know it now. But it was in that group that we made mistakes. And now that we kind of switched it over and we kind of did Python, it's that darn semicolon at the end of the code. Would have at least one kid in class would tell me about a semicolon I didn't have. And I gave out bonus points. If you found out if I made a mistake, here's bonus points. I did a whole entire assignment. Students, one girl had like 5 spelling errors and some questions were wrong. I didn't add points on a Google form. And by the time she finished critiquing my entire assignment, she probably had 25 bonus points because I didn't realize how many mistakes I make. So I was kind of rushing to get it out to the students. So, and she couldn't points. And I said, because you corrected my mistakes, so I'm going to give you those points. And I thought that was, and now they're okay with telling me when I make mistakes. So when I, correct them, I'm okay with accepting it because I'm okay with accepting it.
Yeah. And I mean, I think I could spend, hours talking to all of you, just with such awe in, what you've been able to create and grow at your school. Just one last thing. I also had a question about, your approach to teaching computer science and creating your program is really also building leadership capacity with students. I mean, it's super obvious with Maya and Ladorian on this panel as well, too. Just, as part of last comments, what would you recommend in terms of, also including that as part of the approach? That leadership part is super important. It's a life skill, that I would say that all students could benefit from.
Oh yeah, I mean, we have one student who, before she came back to school, I really struggled to get her engaged in class. And then when we got back, she kind of got into my class and she realized that Miss Coaston and I were really kind of quirky, weird teachers that she really liked. And then we couldn't get rid of her. And she started coming to our class. And when she had extra time, she would come into our classes. She started peer tutoring other kids. She started coming and she started taking apart computers I had in my room, helping with help desk. She actually sat on a workshop with me and she helped other teachers in the workshop. So she was one of my presenters and she went on a field trip with Coaston and now she wants to help and do computer science. So within a few months, she went from barely being engaged in class to now she's one of our leaders. She helped with Chromebook collection and helped. So, I mean, just being a part of it, just coming in. We turned her from a barely engaged student into a leader in a few months.
And that she definitely has some emotional things she needs to work on. And when we did Chromebook returns, some of the Chromebooks did not come back as they were given, passed out. And she did a very good job of, keeping her cool. She would contact me. We would be quiet about it. So for her to do that, instead of saying things loudly, just what comes up comes out. That was a big step for her. But one thing we do about leaders, we push our kids to do stuff. So whether they like it or not, we I'll say, hey, the data science competition, if you do the competition, you don't have a final. Simple as that. Win or lose, you don't have a final. And kids are like, okay, we'll do it. They don't realize I'm making them leaders. When we do field trips and do the Chromebook collections, you have to talk to parents. You have to talk to another student about what their issues are. You have to go speak with teachers about setting up their Zoom rooms. Everything we do, we have them get in, and they don't realize it because we want them to
grow. I mean,
we want them to grow and be better because we're preparing them for the next level in their life. And I always tell them, I'm preparing you for the next step because this is not the end.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Well, I'm going to leave final words to Ladorian and Maya. Maya, do you have any final words for us?
Mostly it's just to keep an open mind, because as computer science can be anything, any student can be anything. So you just have to keep a good mentality towards that.
Awesome. Wow. Ladorian?
All I can say is just because something works does not mean that there is room for improvement. It's that.
Well, there you have it. This was an amazing panel with Ms. Shanti Coaston, Ms. Davis, and Maya Tomoto, and Ladorian Flowers, all from Shaw High School, from Cleveland, Ohio. Shout out to all the work that you're doing in Cleveland and in the state of Ohio. Thank you so much for being a part of the Constellations Summit. And now we are including you in our network as well too. So we hope to continue to stay connected with you. Thank you so much.
And quick note, Maya actually read the first round draft pick for the NFL draft.
She did, yes. She's national TV famous.
Yeah. Thank you all.
Thank you.